A roadway redevelopment project in Centerville moves forward, and the Egg and I go before the Board of Health for food violations. All of this on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, October 14th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mantle. The Conservation Commission approves a roadway redevelopment project in Centerville. The project includes both safety and drainage improvements to Huckins Neck Road from Cranberry Lane to Finney's Lane. Walter Voluska from Tibbetts Engineering talked about the project during this week's Conservation Commission meeting.
Basically, this is a roadway redevelopment project, about 1.25 miles. And it's going to involve drainage work, which will include installation of new catch basins, leaching catch basins, and infiltration chambers. Some of the safety improvements will be the installation of a couple of new guardrail sections, and the road will be aligned to provide a uniform 20-foot paved width. Portions of the work will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to some fringe wetland areas, basically bordering the Wequaquet Ponds complex. Roadway reconstruction will be basically full-depth reconstruction where the existing pavement will be milled and ground in place and mixed with the existing base gravel to provide a base for the new hard asphalt pavement. It's a limited project activity, and portions of the work will occur within mapped habitat. There's a couple of small areas that have mapped habitat, and we've submitted a notice of intent to Natural Heritage for their review, and we haven't received a response yet.
And the board voted unanimously to approve that project. The Egg and I will need to make several improvements after going before the Board of Health for food violations. Board of Health Chair Dr. Wayne Miller says he is concerned about the violations.
You know, to me, the issue is not he said, she said. I mean, the issue is, one, there's a truck that wasn't working. There was food stuff in it that was above the acceptable temp. Whatever, however it happened.
Exactly.
Agreed?
Agreed.
We can all agree on that.
And the third portion, it was thrown away.
Okay. Number two, from what I read here, the truck was dirty. There was old restaurant equipment in it. There was a dirty blanket stored in the back of it. That's not the kind of thing that I think I want to see carrying foodstuffs around that are going to be served to people in this town. Three, the refrigerated Pepsi unit had orange juice and open bottles of apple juice, 54 degrees. That's 13 degrees higher than it should have been. Four, there was fish in the freezer that wasn't labeled. Yeah, it was supposedly for the personal consumption, but you know, there's no way of knowing that. That shouldn't have been in the restaurant. It shouldn't have been in the restaurant freezer. For whoever's it is, it shouldn't have been in the restaurant freezer. The stoves and grills were loaded with grease and food debris. The ladies' room, the paper towels, you know, they should be in there. If they were closed, I can understand they were in the middle of doing that. But, you know, the trouble is we've been here. Is this the third hearing that we've had?
Yes, at least.
Third hearing we've had, David?
I know this is at least the second that I've been
I know
involved.
it's more than the second. I was wondering whether it was the third or the fourth.
I know that one issue, well, we had multiple hearings on that one issue, so that's what's
Okay.
confusing.
I mean,
on the floor.
I'm telling you, this place has got to be cleaned up before I'm speaking for myself and not the other two board members. They'll have their opportunity to throw their 2 cents in. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to see this place operating in town, given how many times they've been before us. And it seems to be a lack of understanding of what it takes to have a facility that's clean and safe for the people of Barnstable. And until I can be reassured that that's going to happen from now on out, I'm personally very
in
reluctant
the truck.
to, one, allow this license to continue and/or to renew it when it comes due in December of this year.
Attorney David Lawler represented the Egg and I during the show cause hearing. He says the root of the problem was a broken truck that can easily be fixed.
Situation that I think involves some unfortunate timing. My client has a refrigerated box truck that when he was in Rhode Island, I'm told the refrigerated unit was functioning when he picked up the goods. Somewhere between here and Rhode Island, the refrigeration unit failed, and my understanding, Inspector Morandi was next door at the Gourmet Brunch doing an inspection over there, saw the truck, didn't hear the hum of the refrigerator, come over to investigate, and obviously the thing was not functioning and resulted in an investigation. However, the Inspector Morandi also then went into the restaurant, and a lot of the factors I want to address with you, that when she inspected the restaurant, they were closed. They were in the process of cleaning the bathrooms and replacing the toilet papers, and in the process of handling various functions and other matters which appear to be related, and I'll address those individually as going forward. But that and then also my client has given me. I actually came down. I received a phone call from my client. The beauty of cell phones, and my office is not that far down, and I walked over, and there was Inspector Morandi and Officer Esty there at the truck, and obviously it was full of food. However, my client has done some research, and they ended up having to throw away about $1,200 worth of eggs, in addition to some meats and things like that. And her subsequent inspection has shown through the FDA that eggs can remain out unrefrigerated for at least a couple of hours.
The board discussed possible solutions, with Miller recommending problems be addressed before the Egg and I's license is renewed.
Here's my suggestion, and we'll leave it open to comment from my other two board members and from staff. I would recommend that this license not be renewed until these specific problems are directly addressed to the satisfaction of staff, number one. That number two, the consultant that was used to provide the guidance and recommendations to make sure that the performance was up to code, meet with staff to go over the recommendations and to make sure that everything that has been recommended has been instituted. And that three, that come before, licenses renewed when? December?
December 31st, yeah.
That be done, and you come before this board again in December to present those findings, at which point in time we'll make a decision about whether to renew the license or not, and if we do renew it, what type of oversight and what type of provisions we'll place with it. I mean, one of the things we may do is a thing that we've done with other places, which is to do the frequent inspections.
They don't get
They
their
have a
license.
seasonal license.
Yeah, they get their
so,
license
right.
in the spring.
Okay, so when would that be?
I don't know,
When
May?
do you
You
usually
open, what, April, May?
April, May.
So let's do it for the March meeting. You got a few more months to get it done.
That's actually more helpful.
So the March meeting, we'll expect to have you in. I want to see evidence. I want to see evidence that all of the problems that we have right here are taken care of.
And the Board of Health voted to follow those recommendations and continued the hearing until March of 2016. That's when the Egg and I will be back before the Board of Health for its license renewal. Tonight, the Zoning Board of Appeals meets at 6:30 in the Town Hall hearing room, and the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee also meets at 6:30. That meeting will be held in the West Barnstable Community Building. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will have our weekly golf segment. We'll get a preview of tomorrow's Town Council meeting with Town Council President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.